yes, we have come to the end of the prequel series. Phase 1 down. And, yeah. Let's begin with the final installment of the prequel series. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Sith. So, let's go through this. Alright. First off, this movie had some very... Get that right there. Very good music. You know what I'm saying? It really did. It was good. It stood out for me. So let's see here what else got in my notes. All right, I do laugh about something though. So when Anakin went off the war, now you know with the Clone Wars, he was back and forth. But then when he went off to the main war, he came back and Padme was pregnant. She's like, I'm pregnant. Okay. And those are his kids? How did that work? Like, she's like freshly pregnant. But alright, whatever. Then in this movie, they had like another new villain. That was one thing that was weird. It was like, alright, so Grievous is this coughing, hacking, can barely stand up kind of thing. You got Dooku, who's pretty Debo. But then when you've seen him like in Clone Wars, the cartoon, Grievous is like a monster. And Dooku's actually a huge threat and was kind of like the main villain for a bit. Until, of course, you find out who the real villain is. And it was like, oh, a new villain. Now, the relationship between Obi-Wan and him was better. You saw more banter. You saw more of that camaraderie. I do love how Anakin got the scar. Where did he get the scar from? Because George Lucas like, scars are cool. Yep, that's the answer. Now, for me, this is the one that we wanted. When I was younger and I wanted to see how Vader became Vader, I didn't need 3 movies to tell me that. But I'm not knocking it because in the end we got Clone Wars. But you literally could have taken the first 2 movies, kind of pretty much thrown out the first movie, chopped up the second movie, and made a nice lengthy third, like one movie, and it would have worked. In my humble opinion. But we did finally get to see how he became Vader, leading to things like the Order 66, which was crazy. But then it's kind of wild because if you didn't watch Clone Wars and, you know, later, it's like, wait a minute. So it's like Anakin just, I'm going to kill kids now. And I'm like, what? Okay. And you don't mention Ahsoka. And it's like, the weird thing happened with Mace Windu. Mace Windu's fighting the Emperor. Now, what I also kind of found a little annoying was supposed to be that if you got into the dark side of the Force enough, it actually started to rot in your face. Like your eyes change color. Sometimes you start to get that hideousness because it's like eroding you. But for the Emperor, it was Mace was throwing the lightning back at him, and it was burns, which I thought was interesting. But then I'm like, maybe the burns that he absorbed the darkness. But then, like out of nowhere, you had him where he's like, I can save Padme. And here's something that was inconsistent. So he manipulated him there, and he cuts off, you know, Mace, and then he like shoots Mace off the thing. I kind of wish Mace lived. I think that would have been awesome if like later on in another series we actually seen Mace was alive. He just went into hiding like the rest. But they kind of went into this whole weird thing where it was like, he's like, well, I could save Padme, maybe. And then it's like, wait, you told me I just killed a comrade because you told me you could save her, but now you're telling me you can't. You know what? I think I'm just going to take you in. But for some reason, Anakin just kept falling for it. Because he's the problem with Anakin that exemplifying the Clone Wars, not so much. I get it. He was frustrated because they kept treating him like the kid, even though all the war stuff and everything, he should have been on the council. And it's like they keep telling him no, he's not ready. And they constantly, even in the show, they did it too. Where it's like you're not ready. I'm like, this dude, you're literally having him. He's the best fighter pilot. He's doing all this stuff, but somehow he's still not ready. Why? So I kind of understood, but he was like, why am I not ready? Kind of thing. And this one, at least, I mean, this movie still had its ugh parts, but at least it was stuff that we needed to know. Being older, he made it. But then it was like I said, he just went to like Vader now, kill. Okay. I will say this was probably this movie has the worst scene of Vader ever. He gets up, he looks cool, and here's the problem: George Lucas. All right, when he got up and did the thing, he was like, "No, Padme." Everyone's like, "That's stupid," because what should have happened. Maybe Vader should have got up, and I mean, it was cool in the background to Crush, but when Vader woke up and he said, "Padme didn't make it," I would have liked to have seen it where he just went, no, like or something like that, and because you heard his voice instead of James Earl Jones's like iconic voice, and if he would have just everything would have just like, and he would just flexed his force power, and you would have seen like stuff crumbling and moving and like that would have been so cool, but they didn't do it. That they did the no because Lucas. Because I'm also getting sick and tired of everyone acting like George Lucas is a genius. A lot of this stuff was stuff that he liked and he kind of stumbled into these things. And I think the prequels are tainted at. I'm not saying the man didn't have skill. I'm not saying the man didn't have a wonderful idea that did it. But that really showed in this series. But it wasn't horrible. But it wasn't all of it wasn't great either. There was other people involved that helped. But it had some high points. And this movie did. I like the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like, some people didn't like it because they said it went too long. I actually thought the fight was great. I actually thought it needed to have that kind of length. They were really skilled. And the thing is, Obi-Wan has a lot of power. Anakin was still getting stronger. And Obi could at least match him. So when they did the thing, the high ground. Now, I did find funny because I'm like, really? The high ground was like this. I'm like, so you got that little bit? Oh, I guess that's enough. As long as you got a little inch of the high ground. I did like the fact that you saw the birth of the Emperor and how he dismantled, because Jar Jar Binks is a moron who voted the Emperor in as the final deciding vote, but how he dismantled everything and said now, because they gave him enough power, he's like, now it's going to be the Empire. And you see they basically gave over the power to him. And he didn't do it through force, he did it through slick politics. That's why I think they could have took the second movie, chopped up some of that and put it into there, where you could see him throughout the movie slowly doing it. But in the cartoon show, hats on my hair. In the cartoon show, you did see him kind of slowly do stuff, and I know they had the comics where you seen him where how much he literally didn't care about human life, even though the clones were like destroying themselves to get him these things. I've only read them. I don't have any of them, so I'm not doing them. But I just wanted to point that out because I've read some. It was also cool how he fought Yoda in the opera house when the Sith Dark Plagueis, and that was awesome. How you seen how they were throwing and stuff, and actually how really strong he actually was, the Emperor. And you seen the fall Anakin still was a little fast. Clone Wars kind of built up to it, but once again, you shouldn't have to watch Clone Wars in order to get that. It does fill in some of the black story when he was telling him, the Emperor was telling Anakin about the story, and he's like, "I'm the Padawan." Or I'm the apprentice. And this movie did expand the lore with the two and the Sith and how it grew more. And Hayden's dialogue wasn't always great. Sometimes he did do it okay. And this one I felt he did better. Like he finally found a little bit of a better groove. Still was a little whiny, but that also could have been the direction and that was just the writing itself. Like people really give Hayden a lot of crap for that, but some of that stuff was very on its own. But he definitely had a good look for it. Like, it did fit, especially when you go to Luke. It fit very well. And it was kind of like a twisty-turny thing where you would see Anakin also through the movie kind of go from here to here, here to here. Like, it was like his back and forth. It kind of, I hate to say it, kind of made him look stupid. Because it was like he was easily manipulated just by a little bit of emotion. You could throw them back and forth, but then it kind of works because later in the later films, which I'll get to it, when he tries to turn with Luke and then he kind of turns back to Vader, it's like he finally caught on after all these years. And it was cool because they did have Vader have like his apprentices and stuff, but now that stuff's non-canon. But it made sense with Ahsoka why Vader would go after and have Starkiller, which I think was interesting they used Starkiller based on the later movies and Starkiller in the Force Awakens, because originally Luke Skywalker's name was going to be Starkiller, which, by the way, it's too late for this campaign. I do apologize. I meant to say something, but just, with everything going on, because it's Mother's Day, it's been kind of crazy. But there's a space thing I had with a cat that was on Kickstarter. But what I'll do is, I promise the writer I will review it when I get it in my hands. It was like $25. Actually, to tell you the truth, yeah, I'm backing a lot of stuff. It is kicking my butt with money, but some of the stuff I had to let go. Like there was a Metal Militia thing, I couldn't do it. To get others, I had to prioritize. But I'm going to actually go through and do the different Kickstarters and Indiegogos that I am backing. So this way I can give you more time. I just ran out of time. I meant to actually do this thing days ago, but I've had so many other videos popping in that I'm having on deck. It got lost in the shuffle. So I apologize for that. Because I like to say when I'm back and to give them more support. Hopefully one day, they show me it in kind, but I'm at least review it. But I thought the fight was awesome. This one I didn't have as much to say. I thought Order 66 actually was really good. What Clone Wars did recently made that actually better. I love the fights in here. I actually think the fights were really good. I also thought it was interesting how you saw the Jedi Order get taken down, how they were kind of surprised. At the same time, I did find it funny that most of the Jedi couldn't do anything, even though people do feel the disturbances in the Force. I would think a few of them would have been like, oh, shoot, wait a minute, I feel something. Nope. Like Ahsoka did. But then that also shows just how amazing Ahsoka is. Okay, so let me get to that, because I don't even know or remember if I said it in the last one for the Clone Wars cartoon. Ahsoka is probably the best, and this is over Sabine, and I love Sabine. Ahsoka, I actually think might be the best female in Star Wars. She has become such an amazing character. I would love to see more of her. And I would love to see them even do the journeys through some of the missing years of some of the stuff she may be doing or something. With the Rebels even. I don't care. I just want to see more Ahsoka. She's awesome. Also, too, what's cool is you can kind of play with it where she may have used the Force thing for her species, and you could have Rosario playing her. And then maybe in a future movie or something, have her, but she, age her just a little bit, but have it where she's like, hey, I use the Force powers to do this. We'll see where Disney goes with this stuff. Because some of the stuff I'm seeing down the horizon still looks like woke nonsense. But like I said, the fighting was good. This movie had a dark tone to it. You got to see a lot. A lot of plans came into fruition. I would definitely say it's the best out the bunch. I actually am going to say right now that this movie... is a lower, I would say a good time. You can have a good time watching it. I actually watched this movie and I wasn't mad, I wasn't angry watching it or anything like that overall. I was like, okay, yeah, we get through the love story. But this thing kicked into high gear, especially Order 66. I kind of wished, and I was hoping, even though I know why they didn't do it, I don't know why. I always had this thing when I was younger. I was like, I kind of wish the kids would have tried, showed them trying to fight him. And Anakin would have been like, nope, I'm taking her down. But I get why they didn't. I mean, you don't want to see a bunch of kids get hacked. But just the fact that the Order, I would have loved to have seen the kids, even if a few fell, maybe escape. And the reason why I know it's Star Wars and they don't do that, but in Mortal Kombat, that MK movie Scorpion, where you see a kid go down, or the Apocalypse thing, sometimes when you see kids fight and they fall, it gives you that visceral upset feeling because it immediately hits you. But especially if the kids were holding back and let's say a couple of them saved a few of the other kids, which I gotta eventually play that new video game that was in there, one of the kids that survived Order 66, since now that's, I think, the canon Star Wars game besides Battlefront, and see about what they sell more. I haven't had the time to play video games though I want to. That's why I didn't, and I didn't have the money, so that's why I didn't buy it yet. But I'm gonna buy it down the line because I don't own a lot of Star Wars games anymore. I still want Force Unleashed. I think I do have Force Unleashed just to play it because that was just ridiculously fun when I played it before. But anyway, back to the main. I thought it was good. Obi-Wan kind of started looking like Obi-Wan, and I know they're supposed to be doing an Obi-Wan series. I'm very interested to see how they do that, those in-between years, because you do see Obi-Wan later in another series. So I think there's story to tell there. Ewan McGregor is not my favorite person on the planet. He's not my favorite actor for it, but I think he did fit the role. And he does look a lot like the dude, and I think the timing was perfect where he's at the age now. If they want to push it into before that series, I actually think it's not a bad idea. He's at a good age because you can age him up. Like when it came later with I think when he showed up in like Rebels and he was young, but he was older. He was like he was in his 50s, which you still are. Like I think they could use him now. He looks good now. I will give him that. And have him still grow the hair, do the series, but age him up a bit as you go through the series. Do a few seasons of it. I'll say that. He's not a bad actor overall. He's really not. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have as crazy much to talk about this one as I did the other ones. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, that's it. So, like I said, this one I didn't have as much to talk about because there wasn't a lot to complain about. The few things that were, I thought the battle was intense, especially when you saw Anakin get like melted and all that. I thought that was awesome. The whole thing with Padme, where you see the stuff going on there, just the fights themselves, the visceralness of it, the viciousness of, and he's like, "You're the chosen one," and the way they viewed the prophecy, they didn't realize they were imbalancing the Force by having such a Jedi Order, and they balanced the Force and with the Empire and the whole thing. And I think it did add something to the entire series as a whole. And I think it was really good for all the stuff that they did and all the little nuggets and as they set the stuff up. How you saw him become the Emperor was actually very slick. How he's like, now I am the charge. And just how they put it all together and how everyone had to leave. And also, with Clone Wars, you see why Ahsoka wasn't there, why she wasn't a part of it, even though she was a part of Order 66. So, overall, I think this was the best of the bunch. Like I said, I give it a good time, lower one, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the prequel series, but I feel to watch the whole series, I think it's a part of it necessary. I know some people cut off Star Wars, like some are like, nope, I cut off the first movie, I cut this. I don't. I think all the series are necessary, good or bad. That's the story that they're telling. That doesn't mean if it's not bad or not, it'd be called out on. And yeah, so I think it is. I think if I can handle the prequels existing, I think people should be a little bit more softer on the Disney trail, the Disney section, because I think people go a little overboard. I get it. You're like, oh, I can't stand it. I think you're nitpicking because I've noticed things people say about that series I've seen in the prequels, and they don't say the same thing about the prequels. Like the Metachlorians, Jar Jar Binks. Like we all joke about it, but Jar Jar Binks was a terrible character. I don't blame the actors either. And each series to me has its bad. Like people act like the original trilogy is perfect, and I don't think it is. I think every single series has its bad. I think it's more of what kind of fan are you versus what you want. But I do think they are pandering a little too hard in the newer series, and they need to get away from that. And Star Wars should not be a forces female situation or all girls situation or anything. It should be people, aliens, and struggle situation. We should see men in there. We should see women in there. We should see everything. And yeah, but overall, I think this movie's good. I think Order 66 was that way they did that was very interesting. My personal opinion, I think they should try to make a game with someone that's on the more of the dark side. And I'm curious sometimes if there was people who was a part of the Empire and stuff who actually did have Force abilities, but they're bad. Okay, so basically with Clone Wars, what I'm talking about is I would love to play a game where you could be like an Inquisitor. I think that would be interesting. Because they did have people, the Inquisitors and stuff like that, that did their thing. So they didn't just take out everybody with Force powers. They're like, okay, well, you work for us. You use your Force abilities, but we have you because we need soldiers that can do this. Because really, honestly, they can't have Darth going after everybody. He can go after a few, but that's still multiple people. So you get the Inquisitor. So I think overall, this was a good setup, launching pad for some of the stuff to come and anything like that with Clone Wars. So tell me what you think. That's my take on it. I'm rambling. Some thoughts are coming out. Basically, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay real. The Geek Protagonist is out.